know that the Griffon is named after a mythical beast with the head of an eagle and the body of a lion? The Griffon is a fascinating creature, known for the strength from its lion's core and the speed of an eagle. Griffon lives up to its name, reaching speeds faster than 70 miles per hour as it dives 90 degrees or 205 feet straight down before speeding directly into a 146-foot inland loop, one of the tallest roller coaster inversions in the world.
And speaking of Griffon, this is Team Joshifer here at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, where earlier today we got to go on the Coaster Insider Tour and got to go to the very top of Griffon right there. So there used to be some highlights. As much as we could film, we weren't allowed to film in the control booths or inside of the Verbolten building, unfortunately. But we did get some awesome footage of other stuff, so come along for the ride, hear some facts, see some cool sights that you don't normally see, and enjoy.
Yeah. I know, this is good when I put my meds.
Over like the train. Yeah, we can love it. Awesome. Huh?
Are you excited?
I am excited.
Welcome to the main today, guys. The one thing that I ask you guys don't do is take pictures of that. Those are blueprints.
Oh,
So, once again, that's the biggest no-no on the tour is no blueprint pictures. Anyway, so welcome to the main display of Loch Ness Monster. Loch Ness Monster itself was built in 1978 by Aero Development Incorporated. The parts are manufactured in Utah and they were shipped piece by piece here to Virginia. It was actually given a cardboard cutout of how the track would look, unlike today where we have the nice computer graphics that show exactly how it's going to be. That also comes down to how they can measure it and everything. For example, when this guy was built, he had a 6-foot leeway, which means we can fix our boo-boo up to this much. So 6 feet is a lot, but for them that was average. Now you look at Griffon, which was built in 2007, they have 1/16 of an inch of leeway. That's how tight these guys get now. That's because of laser engraving and bits being bolted. So the fact that this was shipped piece by piece, he was then welded together instead of bolted. So that's why it's a bit rockier as well, because vibrations like to go down the line. Another thing that adds a bit to that vibration is if you look at the tires themselves, every coaster has 3 tires. It has a road wheel on top, a guide wheel on the side, and an upstop on the bottom. And one thing you can notice with this one is I can actually move the wheels that are not, because they're usually not touching. That's because these wheels come flat. That's just how they are done. This is how the ride was made. Now, when you look at a newer coaster like Griffon as well, the wheels are going to be concaved. It adds to a more smooth ride. This one's going to be a bit bumpier. Also, this guide wheel is going to be on the outside. That also contributes to a smoothness of the ride, because this one, it kind of feels like more like a giant pinball machine, because it's bouncing, 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 going back and forth. That's how it works. To give you an idea what a wheel looks like when it comes new, as I said, it comes flat. This is what happens when it gets used. Bit of a difference. You guys can touch these if you wish. I can pass them around.
how long is the lifespan of a wheel?
From 1 day up to 3 months.
Nope. No? Okay.
So that can be a couple things. It could be a, I can't think of the technical term, I call it a safety for some odd reason. It's not the right word though. But essentially is, see the little green box right there? That's called a proximity switch. It talks back to the computer controls and says, hey, something just passed me. That's how the ride keeps track of every single train on a coaster. We then separate the ride into block brake sections. That can be either an actual brake section itself or chains. Chains themselves can stop it. They can also speed up and slow down. That's called creeping. in which it monitors where the next train is, and it can slow down the chain or speed it up depending if it needs to do so. It can then, so if a train is getting too close to the next block break section that a train is in, for example, the station, the ride itself will shut itself down. At that point, we have 15 minutes. We start doing a countdown once maintenance arrives. That's Ken, by the way. He's one of your maintenance guys. He's one of 3 guys who work this ride. They get here roughly 4 a.m. and he will be here around 12:30.
That was my next question. What time do they start?
4 a.m. They go through a 5-page checklist.
And they examine every car on every group?
With the exception of this one will not be run this year. The reason why is because, as I said, remember what I was talking about, the safety with it getting too close?
Right.
This last year they're having a problem of loading it too slow. So it just kept shutting down because it was activating a safety feature of something's getting too close, I'm stopping.
Okay.
And so they decided to have just 2 trains this year because
It was too much.
it was too much of an issue.
Oh.
This guy originally did open with 4, by the way. There would be 2 out in the holding lanes, and then there would be 1 in here. And there's also way over there is a pipe which looks exactly like this pipe right here, and that was soldered off.
So how'd they manage 4 then if they have trouble with 2 now?
Back then.
Yeah.
So also back then it was a manual brake system.
Okay.
So a couple things of how the years have changed. For example, see that big pole right there? Not this fire extinguisher, not the fire prevention system, but the one behind it, where that green switch is kind of just hanging right beneath. That itself controls the gates. So right now you're standing beneath the station, which is actually pretty cool. So that grade you see, that's where the track sits. So that's actually a pretty fun fact. And a fun fact is 1978, that pole was not there because those gates weren't there. You could have actually literally walked onto the track. So that's why you see this giant red line on the station. That's because that's where they were told to stop. It's kind of like the subway system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stay behind the blinking lights.
Right.
Same idea with this one, except for it was a coaster. Also, the brakes themselves, they are now automatic. Back then, it was done via lever system. So they actually had to push a lever, and that's what slowed it down. And if they missed their timing, the train would just go again. So you get a 2 for 1. And now it stops automatically. It's all done via computer. A really fun fact is, we like to call these guys jackknife systems. Unlike a lot of coasters where they kind of squeeze the body of the coaster itself with Griffon, this one is going to squeeze the fins. They look like knives, and they will cut you like a knife. They are very sharp, specifically on those fins. Yep. So, anyway, how does the train go up the chain?
It has to catch on.
It catches on, but what catches it? A chain dog.
He's our enthusiast.
Oh, you're fine. So this is what a chain dog looks like. By the way, its counterpart is right here. I have 2 for this train. I have 1 here, and I'm gonna have one about 5 cars down. Right next to him, he's gonna have the anti-rollback. There, the anti-rollback is actually the one that's gonna make all that noise that you hear. This guy, you're gonna hear him for maybe about 3 seconds when he's actually going a little bit faster than the chain would. The chain's gonna speed up a bit, it's gonna catch it, and it's gonna slow down, and it's gonna go the normal speed it usually does. And then you're gonna hear this guy click, 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 click all the way up. His purpose in life is exactly what his name is, anti-rollback. Stops a rollback from happening. That chain would not be able to hold the train if it stopped directly. It would just simply be pulling it, and once the chain stops, it's gonna start falling backwards. Not good for your engine. So if you guys wanna hold this as well, you can. It's up to you if you do or not.
Can I give you these?
Well, yeah. Sorry.
This is your souvenir.
I can hang this in my classroom.
So a little fun fact about this guy compared to other coasters is, first off, you have your race in here. Every coaster has a race. But the bearing is different. With a lot of newer coasters, your bearing is all in 1. This guy, your bearing is in 2. So they'll actually have to chip away. You can see like little grooves right in this wheel. And that's because they have to take a chisel one side at a time. Because if they do it one side completely, they're actually going to dig that metal into the wheel, which is something they're trying to preserve, because they try to preserve this wheel as much as they can.
So they just changed the line on the outside.
Yep, what they'll do is they'll ship the wheel back to Macklin, and Macklin will then restrip it. And then reapply the polyurethane. He's then going to add glue to the polyurethane, so that way the polyurethane stays on the steel itself. And it's given a best if used after date. That's actually a really fun sticker to look at. I do have it in Griffon. I can show you it there. Let's do that. Something you hope you never find in your grocery store. Any questions?
So is this an electric? Is it, what is it? Is it electricity that runs it?
Yeah.
or-
Really mechanical.
It's purely mechanical. Just the chains take it up and then gravity does the rest.
Really?
So is there a limit to, I mean, I know this was 1978, you said this was made? So is there a point where, like, where is it decided that we should take it out of commission and do something else? Because I know they're always changing.
All right, so this guy, that's a tricky question specifically for this guy because he's considered an
Yeah.
ACE landmark,
Right.
which is American Coaster Enthusiasts.
Oh.
He's one of 29 in the country. And we actually have to make our own parts. This is the only maintenance bay in the entire park where they can openly weld with an open fire. So if I were to take you, you can actually just walk around. Birds up, right on the wall. That's because they do openly weld right here.
So you guys have to maintain it yourself because at this point it's so, yeah.
Yep, Air Development actually went out of business. It was then bought out by A&A International. So it is now Air Development International. Harnesses, they are from Big Apple. They brought the chassis from Python, which was Loch Ness's sister down in Tampa. They brought the entire chassis up. And this year, one of the trains is the Python chassis. So if you ride both trains this year, you have a 50-50 shot of saying, I rode Python on the Loch Ness.
Oh, that's cool.
But I don't know which one it is. I've asked them. They're like, we don't remember.
Yeah.
It all
It's the same.
It
So,
all
and the ACE landmark, I mean, do they just hope that you abide by that, or is it, I mean, you know, they're not like the government, right?
Yeah, they're not the
They're just
government.
an enthusiast club.
So it really is a prestigious thing though, because in order to become an ACE landmark, you must have done something that was pivotal to the history of coasters and the development of roller coasters.
Okay.
This one was the first tubular track, along with the world's only interlocking looped coaster. So you see the loop,
Right.
one loops like this, one loops like this. There was a time when we did time it, but when we got the new braking system, we can't time it
Yeah.
so well. So if it does happen, that's purely by chance.
Yeah, because I remember as a kid.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you used to always see that happen.
You wait for your picture
Yeah,
to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Okay.
Okay.
if you guys want to see what a braking looks like, you want to grab one side, you can grab one side. You wanna grab it? Careful. So, this is half a brake assembly. Just turn it, there you go. It's honestly upside down, but it's okay. So, as you can see, that fin is going to be steel. This is going to be a bronze aluminum. We like to call it brass because we're lazy. But in maintenance terms, it is bronze aluminum. That's the actual material that's used. The reason why we want to have bronze aluminum is because bronze aluminum isn't as strong as steel. So therefore, this is going to degrade faster than the steel fins will. They have to replace these once every 2 weeks. I want to say they replace at least one a day. They walk 80% of this track every single day. They walk 100% of this track once a week. Every track gets walked every single week, with the exception of Griffon's 90-degree drop. Actually, during the off season, they will have someone rappel
Yeah.
off the top,
Oh, cool.
and they inspect it. So everyone comes back.
Now, the maintenance guys that work on the coasters, do they have an engineering degree, or are they just maintenance guys?
They're just maintenance. They're just mechanical. Quite a few of these guys actually started in the automotive industry.
Okay.
And then they found their way over to coasters. I haven't really found one yet that's like, I wanted to be a coaster mechanic.
Right.
I guarantee some of them do have engineering and mechanical degrees. It's just not all of them do.
Are they a year-round position here? or
Yep,
just
year-round.
seasonal? Okay.
So, fun thing about these guys is the lucky thing about us being closed for 3 months is that they can completely disassemble every single car. They do that every single year. Every park has to do it. So that's why if you go to a year-round park, you'll see a coaster is closed for a month or two. That's because they have to completely disassemble the cars and then build them from the ground up again.
And they can't just rotate them, they have to do them all at one time?
Correct. So, only thing they're going to say from these guys will be your giant pieces of metal. So this inside, they're not going to save the tire. They will save the inside of the tire though. That can be used up to 5 times.
There you go.
That's them releasing the.
The air brigade.
Pneumatics.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Are you guys ready to walk? So I have 8 going up on top of the lift, and I have 4 that will be observing. Correct?
Yes.
The observers will stay with Brad down at the bottom. The participants will come up with me and Elijah. We're gonna bring 4 up, and then the next car's gonna come back down, and the next 4 are gonna load. And the 4 that are previous up there are gonna go back down in the car again.
Oh my god, this is exciting.
Guys, just watch your step for me to step up and step down. You're gonna go up to those seats at the top. That's where we'll be getting out. When you sit down, you'll have a seatbelt to buckle up. Just goes looking here.
Yep.
All right, so you guys are going to start up kind of slowly, and then you'll speed up a little bit as you go up to the top. You're going to slow down again once you're about 6 or 7 feet away. These guys will let you know when you can unbuckle and stand up and head up to the top. Steve is going to go up with you to take photos for you, so if you have anything you want to photo of, just let him know. All right, guys?
Sounds good.
All right, I'm
Thank you.
gonna... Are you driving?
Yeah, I don't know. This is Ken,
Hello.
fiance girl.
Nice to meet you. Hello. I'm going to head back down since you guys
We
are
got
up
it.
here.
We got it.
It'll be okay, I promise.
Really?
Fun?
Yep.
Nervous?
Are you?
Nope. This is weird.
Yeah, but I mean, half time she's got one. Sometimes he don't have one. They got a dude got one on.
But it is wet.
Huh?
My butt is
Y'all
wet.
give me a thumbs up. Everybody got thumbs up? It looks like no thumbs up. We got one, they got no thumb. Already got a troublemaker. Alright. There we go. There we go. That's it. Take a picture of it. Huh? Yeah, I got to show off. He's not smiling. There we go. He's smiling that time. Oh, he held
Hey,
it
you got
back.
your phone out?
What?
Just make sure you have your phone out.
So when he comes home complaining, this way he got to come help me out over here. Him and Alan. I don't like heights. Huh? He don't complain. You hear that, Alan? He don't go home and complain.
He's got to complain about me at least.
I complain every day, all day. In case you don't know, her fiance boyfriend is one of our co-workers.
Oh, nice.
He works over at Lockness.
Nice.
So y'all going out to eat tonight too?
Yeah.
Where you going?
Got George's.
So you like seafood?
I do.
Oh, yeah, I'm
They're
about to tell
buying
you
us dinner,
something.
Kenny.
Huh?
They're buying us dinner.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, come on.
Well, that's what you were talking to about. Last time she fixed y'all all this chocolate and then she fixed me this healthy thing because she thought
It's his fault.
that sugar was a problem for me. My thing is I got to have sugar.
See,
You can't have that fake sugar.
couldn't have sugar. That's why I try to make
Yeah. And it was good. It was good, but it was nothing I would have made myself.
Crazy.
But it was good. It was
I
different.
went and looked at the recipe for you and everything.
It was good.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It was good. I mean, the chocolate was good.
He came home, he was like, I was wrong. Wrong what?
Well, see, my wife and I both, she really is allergic to all artificial sweeteners. And if you look at anything that got aspartame, it create migraines. Make you have migraines. So we don't have nothing else. Right now, everybody's sick. Everybody got strep throat. My wife, she got poison things on. She got pink eye, urinary tract infection. Your little 2.5-year-old grandbaby you see probably in pictures of. She's got strep throat and then treated for that.
It's kind of
Took her back
scary.
yesterday.
It's
She had ear
slightly
infection. They
terrifying.
didn't know it. She's been fever every day. All right, we're slowing up. He's going to open the door. We're going to tell y'all thumbs up in a second.
The height. I'd like to tell you, it is roughly higher than the ground. So, Right now, if you guys look down that way, see those two giant funnels sticking up? That over there is Yorktown, so that gives you kind of a general direction of where you are. That's going to be south from us. Over there, those two brown balls, that is Surrey Nuclear Power Plant. Those ships off in the distance in the water, that's called the Ghost Fleet. Those are ships that are waiting to be scrapped from the Navy. So that's just Muab sitting there waiting. And then right here I have Mock Tower. That is the highest point in the park, coming in at 245. You're not. So a little fun fact is, one day it was raining about this to us, and it was about 50 degrees. We were on top of this coaster. You could barely see to the cell phone tower, just about 2 miles away from us. You can barely see there. We look over at Mock Tower. So Mock Tower's maintenance bay is at the very top. There was one guy by himself working on the maintenance bay in the middle of the pouring rain. We didn't want to be up here, but we had other people with us. He was by himself, so we just felt so miserable for him. So these guys, they love you a lot.
Thank you.
Anyway, so what you're wondering about next would be right here. These giant pieces, those are essentially floor pieces. As you know, Griffon is a floorless dive coaster that has its classification. So therefore, if we have to do a ride escort, we're not just going to like drop to the chain link fence.
Yep.
Yes, we just had it 2 days ago. They actually have to build a floor first to let you off. Then they unlock 5 seats at a time. I can go over that more if we go over there. If you don't want to go over there, you don't have to, although Ken might push you, I'm sorry. Alan, do you mind taking pictures? Unless you want to go over there with them, because you know we can't have guests over there by themselves.
You which one? You will go over.
You'll go over?
I'll go over.
Do you want to explain the car then?
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about the
Because I usually talk
train
about
itself?
I talk about the brakes, the spare chain, the descent chain, and how they do it 10-11. Actually, no, sorry, I'll do it.
No, you get paid for this.
I know I do. Go, guys.
Jim? Nope.
Stay on the inside of the green line.
Yep.
Holy crap. I don't like being left or right-handed right now. I want to hold my camera in the left hand.
I'm gonna stand here. This is as far as we'll allow anybody to go.
Fair enough.
For obvious reasons.
Yep.
You can just, there are sets of stairs on each side if you can see them there.
Yeah.
There's another set over here as well. Now what he was talking about is we can release each row individually, and it's actually we do half a row by these bars here. We have special made tools that will allow us to pivot, and it'll unlock the mechanism here to allow these 5 to open up, and it's the same thing in every row on the left and the right side. Now he was also pointing out about, you know, here's our brakes. It actually grips both sides of the train. You'll get to see what it actually grabs inside the shop when we go back down. There's also a recovery chain in case something were to happen where we have to bring this train back up to this point, and you were able to see it. There's actually a red box, clear box right down there, and that's the chain that we would use to bring this train back. We have feeder wheels to put you in position. You'll see them in the shop as well. Each car has 10 seats across. Of course, there's a pivot for each boat. We call them bogies, and you'll get to actually see them in the shop as well. A little bit more hands-on down there. So if y'all have any questions, feel free to ask.
So before it does the drop, what's it being held by? Is it like a magnetic brake? Is it?
Well, you have this chain
That's the chain,
rides
okay.
right here, and just like this, you'll see the anti-rollbacks at Griffon and Loch Ness. Every ride has it. Obviously, it's a safety feature. This way, it's kind of a reverse dog. So it actually engages on the train, and once it brings you to a certain point, then it's a free fall down through the drop.
Okay.
It still scared me.
Yep.
I would come in and sympathize you, but that means I'll be panic control. I don't know if I've done it or not. Don't worry, baby, I got this.
giant wheels.
Just a little bit bigger.
Just small, slightly bigger. Wow.
That's all I have in the park. This is Griffon's rowboat. Has anyone done canoeing before?
Yep.
Anyone done canoeing in an aluminum canoe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember how heavy that was?
Mm-hmm.
This is 7 pounds heavier. An aluminum canoe weighs 53. This weighs 60.
Wow.
Consequently enough, that rim is still aluminum. But anyway, as I said, this is the best if used after date. Funny enough.
That is fun.
February 16, 2016.
Wow.
So at this point, the glue has cured from between the polyurethane and the aluminum. You're also going to notice how I have two different manufacturers on Loch Ness side. On Loch Ness, I had Macklin. This one I have Euromet. You do have coasters like Alpengeist, which have both Euromet and Macklin, so therefore you can put different manufacturers on the same one. It just comes down to how it's how it's made. One's a little bit harder than the other. Macklin's a bit harder than Euromet makes theirs. So what they're gonna do, Kenny, can you get the device? The locks on. And so what they're gonna do.
Don't let me wait for that.
So let's say this guy's been running for about 3 weeks. They've walked in it every single day. At this point, it's getting questionable of how much it's degraded. So what do I think they're gonna do? Measure it. How would it work?
If it fits inside of that, the space is too small, it's
Yep.
too large.
So I can do it like this, it's fine. But if I didn't have to force it, and it just went like this without me even forcing it, no good. They call it the gauge. Loch Ness likes to call it the go or no go device. They call it the thing I break.
Yeah.
That's how we get inspected for our robots for competitions. We
Yeah.
do the same thing if it fits or
Same thing.
doesn't.
Same thing with NASCAR as well. They do it with the actual cars themselves, the real body. So it's now failed the inspection. They're then going to throw this tire into the turkey baster. It's going to warm up. They're then going to take out the bearing. Which remember what the bearing looks like? This is what theirs looks like. All newer coasters look like this. It also says do not use because we get to use it for tours. So every single wheel is going to have two bearings. It's going to have an inside and it's going to have an outside. You can pass this one around. That one's not as heavy as the wheel is. Once they get the bearing out, they're going to strip it. Actually, they're going to send back to Euromet, who strips it, reapplies it, glues it, so on. And then Euromet's also going to do a really fun thing called putting a dot in it. That dot is used for, that's how they keep track how many times they've used that wheel. Each wheel can be used up to a total of 5 times. Then they have to fully scrap it and buy a brand new wheel outright.
How long does a wheel last?
As I said, a day to 3 months.
Now, what is the material?
Polyurethane.
It's poly? Okay.
So, and then just glue.
Yeah.
And then aluminum for the actual rim. If you guys want to lift it up, you can lift it up. The way I usually do it is I pick it up like this. It's just easiest. It's also nice to compare to Loch Ness. So, remember how Loch Ness, the guide wheel was on the inside of the track? Because this is the track at this point. Guide wheels are now going to be on the outside. It just has to do this. Everyone has a different job. Road wheel rides on the road normally. Guide wheel guides it along turns when it banks. Upstop makes sure you don't fly off the track. Point blank simple. You're going to see every single bolt that's been screwed on has a little blue tick to it. That's called torque seal. That seals the torque, so that way they know if anything's moved. And they check that every single day. This little black bar right here, that is what unlocks the harnesses when you first get to the station. And then these little brass fins, those actually on the female side to the male side of the station has lasers and it writes onto electric AC. And that tells harnesses lock, unlock, and so on. And this is the only coaster in the entire park that unlocks seat by seat. Other ones is row by row or section by section. For example, Loch Ness is section by section, one section of Union Park. So if you look to the left, you're going to see the track moving from. This is called the transfer track. This is how they get the 9-ton train on the track itself. So then there, this is the height is going to be like 27 Now these tires are to hold 9 tons. The 9 tons is going to be held on this right here. On each side, so the road is all right. One row is 3 tons, which is equivalent to the entire train of Loch Ness. So that entire train you saw?
Don't break the ride. Everybody wants to ride it today.
Yeah. I broke his ride. I broke the gauge for the tires.
Now, back here, what is this tube?
They don't know.
It's right there.
I can't say that word. The word is too big. What is it? It's a little round.
You want the tube?
The clear tube. Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah, our school system will let us pull that.
Ours, for us, it's 4 diesel.
Okay.
And then the 4 diesel we go on this seat.
So this is where you want the most cheese.
That back corner.
That corner.
That right corner. So you notice it looks a bit different underneath this. That's a new one as well. So, once again, the brakes on the train itself are steel, and the brakes on the track are bronze aluminum. The brakes are going to look a bit different. They're right here. One on each side. And then I also have these little silver plates. Those are magnetic fins. So I have 3 different braking systems. I've named 2. What's the third?
Water.
Water. What?
Hey, train out.
Okay. Those reds can fit there. That's your third braking system. Go back that way, guys. No.
Can't watch this car.
You can watch it through the door. You just can't be in here when it happens.
I'll find a hard code.
So when it goes to that big pool at the end, it literally, that's a braking system.
Yep, that has to be a certain height because if it's too high, it slows down too much. If it's too low, it doesn't slow down enough.
Interesting, I thought it was perfect.
That's cool.
It is partially for effect. It's also considered a commercial pool because we do have a splash zone next to it. So therefore it has to be chlorinated, so those guys actually do have a commercial pool license.
Oh, how funny. And they have to go down and test the water how many times a day?
I think it's like, I don't know. But I do know they have to get the license.
That is funny. They have to get the what?
License.
A pool license.
To operate a
And that's what this is. They've got it out there.
The little chlorinating.
So I can show you guys the pump later.
That is funny.
Does it make it on you?
Yep, actually it does get on you.
I've never gotten wet on that, but I don't think
There's a splash zone next to it. So you guys can either walk back out there again, or you can stay here and you can watch it pass you. Doesn't matter. Something to think about later is that you get to ride each coaster with the exception of Tempesto twice. So remember what seat you guys want?
No, you're fine. No.
But the group is big. I prefer that you guys, if you guys want to switch seats, switch with someone that's still on the course. That way I don't have to say okay to roll this. But for this guy, when we load onto him, you guys want to take these seats over on this side first. So if you guys all want to the front row, then well, not everyone can do it because I have 12. There's only 10 in a row. So you start over at seat 10 and work your way to seat 1. And so.
Now I know each ride has like different, like some of the seats are a little larger. Where are you?
So for this guy, I'm gonna have one in the very front. like smack that middle. I have 2 on seats 4 and 6, and then on the back I have 1 on seat 5.
Oh, I never did. How do you?
That's just because that's how they were able to get it out weight-wise. So funny enough about weight, the reason why this guy is slowest is because he was supposed to come with the floor, but simply he was too big. He was also too heavy to have a floor. So they dropped it.
Joshifer had a floor.
Same thing.
I'm a nurse, and I wondered if, like, sometimes people go to the OR nursing because you don't have to deal with the public anymore. Like, you don't have to deal with, you just do your job and then they ship them back out. So I wondered if this is like that version of you just work on the cars and do your work. You don't have to deal with the public. You don't have to deal with, except for us.
Well, for the guys here, we didn't deal with tours. We come and do our work,
even this,
get done right now with the paperwork. We sit here, and all of a sudden we can see the guests and wave at them. Now we're coming in, we're back in with public again. No, it's fine. It's fine.
This is pretty much our interaction with guests in general, unless the ride happens to have a shutdown. And even then, we're looking for the operators. Like, they're asking questions, you need to fill in. I have to try to get them off the ride, but you need to talk to them.
Right.
We're focused.
Operator right next to us talking.
Yeah, because we're tasked.
Right.
We're trying to do everything we can to either solve the problem, fix the problem, or whatever we have to do.
So as I said, these guys are timed. So the second these guys get inside controls, they have a 15-minute time span. At roughly 10 minutes, we start getting ready to do ride experts. Now, unless we know it's going to take several hours, for example, walking this kind of that was going to take 4 or 5 hours to fix. So they just did it immediately. But if it's something that they think they can get done quick, they'll usually give us 15 minutes. We give them a 15-minute grace period. And at that point, we start doing it 10, 11, and then they have as much time as they need. I mean, they still have much time as they need. But
Let's get people on and off.
we have 15 minutes to start.
So much coolness.
What you guys might post yourself like I can do it.
Yeah, I just thought that was great.
Nope, that's actually So, first things first, the ride length itself is 3,108 feet long. Has a max height of 210 feet, has a max drop height of 205 feet. It goes 75 miles an hour. It was built by Ballard and Mabillard in 2007. Has 2 different braking systems, as I said. Has the air conditioning and the magnetic. How it works is we usually have the magnetic start first. It kind of trims the speed of it, and then your real stopper is going to be your air compression brakes. Once again, uses friction like you would on a normal tire for your car. Behind me is the pump system for the pool. Once again, they do have to check for chlorine. They'll do it here in the pool, sorry, in the pumps area. So they don't have to go physically to the pool. There you go. So there's your first braking system.
I didn't realize how high up it's raised the rest of the track.
Magnets, air compression. Is the water considered like a trim brake? Kind of, yeah. Maybe like just trim it down.
Do they have to adjust anything when they run
is, you see that white line on the right side? That, under the sun, there's like these weird stable looking things. Let's look at the light curtain. And that's just like the laser in your garage. When you cross it, what happens to your garage? It goes back up, right? Yeah. Same thing here. The second that someone crosses that laser, right as it stops. It also won't dispatch. So that's why you see, you know, you can flip-flop to the side? Yeah. But because they're clearing the light curtain on the other side. So that's why when you're going to throw it there, you see them kind of shoot it forward. Right. Because the right won't dispatch, right? Because someone's like, I'm wearing flip-flop. Right. Alright, do you guys know where you want to sit?
Now prepare to enjoy the power and speed.
Yes, that very back left corner is the most peak.
But, you know, relative to the front, what is it? I feel like there's a lot of shit either way.
Did you guys have fun? Yeah. Exiting race awakeness with the artist of Mars. Exit quickly and carefully to
Yeah, let's do it! They're right under us! I cannot! They're right under us! Hurry! Guys, I'm looking this way! I don't want to... Oh, that felt good! Yeah! No way! Let's see that!
Should be okay here.
Water? What?
Hydraulic?
Hydraulic, right?
No, not hydraulic brakes. So water, it does do something with water. So what pumps water? Steam. No, what pumps water out of the ground?
Well.
A well. This is a 510-foot well.
Oh, wow.
So, Upper Geist was built in 1997. Lock Flume has been here since 1975. So in order to move the well, we would, one, have to find a new water reservoir to pull water out of. Two, we would have to then make a new well. And three, you'd have to get rid of a 510-foot well. It's kind of hard. So we just kept it as is. So one of the things that we asked was, can you build your station and maintenance bay around a well? Which Bogger Mountain Art did. They literally plopped this coaster into flower beds and along the natural gorge. There was actually barely any landscaping that was done to complete this ride. The valley was already there to begin with, mainly because Watson was already there, but it was already naturally there as well.
So is this like a water supply for the whole park? Is it right off well?
Just
the ride?
Just the ride.
Just the walk?
Just Lock Flume. So actually, if you want to see what a traditional B&M strut looks like, you can look at Griffon. Those nice arches, that is what B&M usually builds. Now if you look at Alphabet, it looks more structured, it looks more like a ski lift. That actually was kind of a bonus, because this is what Alphabet, driven means Alp's ghost, so therefore it's the ghost of the Alps. It really fits in. This guy was the fastest coming in at 67 miles an hour. The Banshee took that spot roughly 2 years ago, like 1 mile an hour, so therefore it's 68. This does have a 195-foot drop. It still is the tallest drop for inverted coasters, but it is not the fastest. Sound good?
So this one isn't on the roller coaster historic thing?
Nope. Although it is 3,828 feet long. Yes. And then Apollo was built 99, which funny enough is another B&M. So I have 3 B&Ms within the park. I have 2 Zeros and I have 1 Arrow. And then I now have a GCI being built within the next year. You saw the landscaping being torn away behind water. That's going to be a GCI. So our first wooden coaster. Alright, come on, guys.
Appreciate it.
You can exit to the bridge. You can find that.
Are they like cars where you place a wheel or
Cool.
I guess a wheel? Do you have to do them 2 at a time or pairs or all of them?
So, in case you're wondering what they look like, we actually saw 1.5. This does not make a perfect circle because when you kind of saw things, things kind of go away, even just by a little bit. Happens. But if you guys do want to, you guys can actually pass this one around as well. And you can definitely see what it looks like. As I said, remember how I said it looks like spaghetti and confetti kind of shooting out of the wheel? See those little cracks in the groove? That's none? Alright.
So all the maintenance is done up there, I guess, because all the wheels and stuff are up top.
Yep.
What's the, what did you call it? You didn't call it shelf life, but you called it a dry.
Service date?
Yeah.
This one was lifetime.
Oh, all.
Griffon was lifetime. This one's lifetime. And sorry.
Do they just build them that way now? Do most places want
Sometimes.
lifetime?
I can't really say. It's just not for us. It's lifetime.
Do you know if the parks want lifetime?
Usually, yeah. Sometimes, you know, this guy's got bumpier years.
Yeah.
But it's just it's how it is.
And this one's not welded, this is just bolted
Both
together.
as well.
And that lifetime really isn't lifetime of the coaster, but it's lifetime of the company, right?
But primarily it's lifetime of the coaster. Because you won't expect that company to last.
Of course.
It's the lifetime of the coaster, technically, but yes, you're also right as well.
Okay.
So the really unique thing about this maintenance thing when it comes to showing you guys stuff is this right here. This is a replica of an actual seat. You guys come closer. I don't fight. If you look on the inside, this is actually how the locking mechanism works.
You can look in there? Yeah, you can look in there. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm moving out of here.
So you're going to see, it's going to be 2 red, 2 yellow. I believe the red goes down first,
Yeah.
then the yellow, and then you're going to look right here, and you can see the little light come on.
Yeah.
That, at this point, this is now going to be talking to the control booth saying, hey, I'm locked in. That's how it talks to it. And it can go all the way down like that if it wants to. That's a really skinny person, by the way.
Yeah.
But that's if they wanted to. You guys can always put it down yourself. You don't have to.
How high is the hardest speed for it to be sent out?
3 clicks.
3 clicks, that's it? It can be sent out that high?
Yeah. Right there. But I mean, honestly, you're also forgetting there's going to be plastic.
There's a seat
right here. So it's probably about like this much that you're missing. And I mean, they do have to accommodate for more than female because of things. Biology. And keep in mind, you left hand, you can slide it on and you can slide it this way. These are the same kind of benches you will find on Griffon. How hard do you push? How hard do you push this back?
It's heavy. That's a big one. Yep.
So these are the same ones that kind of like trim down the speed with Griffon.
Yeah.
The same exact ones. That's like a budget totally clean.
So they're just always working. It's not like an on and off kind of
Yeah, these are natural. Now, if you go to somewhere like Tempesto and Verbolten,
They're electromagnetic, right? Okay.
and Mock Tower, those are all electromagnetic. So that's done by electricity. They flip the poles.
A little harder than you thought?
No, I thought it was
Sadly, we don't do Tempesto on this tour simply because the station itself is just too small.
Yeah.
I couldn't really take 12 people in there. It just doesn't work. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I'm gonna touch your butt. I move my hands a lot.
It's okay.
You want to try?
And you're done. Yeah.
Are you gonna finish?
I'll try to finish it.
Those are about 20.
And it really is a perturbation that we need to warm them up.
Yeah. So actually, when they're putting them in, when they just got back, what they'll do is they'll put the wheel back in the turkey baster, and then they'll warm up the wheel, and they'll put the bearing inside a freezer.
Oh, shrink it.
Shrink it and expand the wheel.
So then everything contracts and expands.
Yep, and then once everything cools down and warms up, it fits snug.
Yeah.
They also put grease on there as well, which adds lubrication. As I said, there's 2 different bearings, so they'll put a spacer in there as well. For Loch Ness, it's not easy because of how tight it is. But for these guys, they do put a spacer, so that way the bearings don't have a chance to try and go over each other. Any last questions? Alright.
Alright guys, so this right here is our zero car. Its job is pretty much to counterbalance the weight of the coaster as it goes through the track. So this is the responsibility. Its responsibility is pretty much making your ride way smoother than it's supposed to be. So if you guys see those promos and those pictures, people having fun on the coaster and stuff like that, it's actually not this card. We actually take out this row instead, and the camera is mounted on that row instead. So this is supposed to be, its job is pretty much, as Steve would say, is to be fat and happy. So you guys can pretty much have a much smoother ride.
And it was always part of the ride?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they added it.
This is actually the first coaster, right?
First coaster
to have a zero card on it.
So much for the windbreak to kind of diffuse the wind, sort of a deal?
Well, without this coaster would be a lot lighter than it's supposed to be.
Which means it'll go faster and it's a lot rougher.
It's just weight.
It's a counterbalance. So honestly, when it comes to the smoothness of the ride, because the counterbalance is up here, you're gonna have a lot smoother ride in the front than you will in the back.
Right.
I found like that's always true though in roller coasters, especially
But
older ones. The
this one
back
would
you're
be-
shaking all over the place.
Yeah.
But imagine the back, but in the front. So imagine what the
Yeah.
back would feel like then.
Okay.
It's just that this is the counterbalance.
Great.
Right.
So smoother ride front row.
If you want your speed.
Yeah, back row.
to the back.
If you want the wild ride.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Unless you rode Draken Fire, then it was a shaky ride the whole time.
Yes, it was.
Was this like a new technology for, and is it only for hanging coasters? I guess.
Manta has it. Apollo has it as well.
Okay.
And those 2 are local flat ones. Apollo is actually an experimental coaster as well. Apollo was a hyper coaster, which means it has a 200-foot drop, a chain lift, and no inversions. So it's pretty much just there for speed.
Just fast. Yeah. I like that ride.
Like the
You don't get so sick, you just have a fast
Intimidator
ride.
is actually, I think, a Giga.
Giga.
Which means it's 300-foot.
Wow, there.
It's more than hyper. It is more than hyper.
Giga, and then there's another one up there.
Strata.
Totally lasted a lot longer.
I'll be there.
Well, you see, I don't ride, so.
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. All right. So, if you guys, well, we're really done with maintenance space. This is the last maintenance space you guys are going to go into. So, you guys have any last questions? Any last things?
So is there always a spare coaster, or is this just if you get the volume, you'll add it on to the ride?
Right. It's all due to capacity.
And you saw how quick it was for Griffon. It's the same thing as well.
Right.
It's not.
And what do you go by ride wait time? Like what's the trigger for using an extra coaster?
Park capacity.
So they tell you at the front, we're at a certain number.
Right.
We need to
And
add
that's
more
how many
rides.
trains.
Well, they don't tell us. I guess
We have to call or something like
Like the
that.
lines are like way down the walk now.
Yeah.
Well, I know like some of the parks will give you like the little pass or the timing things. I don't know
Right.
if they do it here or not.
We have
Right, that
a thing-
time in.
yeah,
We have it South
We have a thing called projection, which pretty much our supervisors will give this projection number, and their supervisor will give the projection number, and this will determine that.
Yes, sir. So what it does is we look at, we have a thing called a budget and we have a thing called projection. Projection is how many people we have in the park that we think are coming. And we look at history of that day.
Of that day and time, yeah.
Kind of like how meteorologists look at history of weather and they say, well, we think this is going to happen more on this day because history dictates it.
Right.
And then we budget. Budget is how many guests we're budgeted for. So, for example, we budgeted for 15,000, but we could be expecting 20,000, and sometimes you might get 25.
Right.
It's 10,000 more than we were expecting. And those are fun days.
Yes.
And the budgeting really comes down to staffing. That's what budgeting is, it's staffing. And we'll actually add more people on. And sometimes we budget too much, and we have to send people home or then take trains off. It all comes down to staffing, because you need, the more trains you have, the more.
Right.
This coaster, not so much, but I know, for example, Verbolten, which is a 2-station coaster, they have to have more people for that second station to be open, because that's another 2 hands that are watching the train.
Right.
And when you add a new one to the line, I noticed that they'll run it for a while. Is that just to get the timing right?
Nope, that is to make sure it's fine. every single coaster, every single train. No matter the shutdown, unless it's something technical, for example, Verbolten one time lost its cameras. That doesn't affect the ride itself, but they still had to go down because of safety issues.
Right.
So they immediately started the ride up again. Once they fixed it, they didn't even cycle because it didn't affect the ride itself. Now this guy's been sitting here for the day, even though they inspected it, passed it for the day, they still have to sit on the track cycling to make sure it's fine.
And I've seen this guy, so how many times that has to cycle?
Right, about 2 weeks.
Usually a couple, yeah.
Usually, so in the morning, you go 2 cycles without a team member. Then the 3rd cycle, a team member is on there. That is called a guest service ride. And what they do is they watch, they listen, and they feel. They watch to see if anything is on the track that looks funny. They listen to see if anything sounds funny, and they feel to see if it feels alright.
So it's not a joyride. They're actually there for the ride.
There.
Goes to work. But
we get to ride the ride, but we're actually there because we're making sure it's okay to ride.
kind of, yeah.
I mean,
because it's really the only time ride operators, if anybody had that question, do we get to ride the rides when the park closed?
Right.
No.
Right.
We go home.
We are the first ones to test the rides.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the people we saw in Griffon as we were walking up,
They
that
were
was their
doing
test
their,
ride?
yep.
That was the guest service, right? Like, that's not because we want to, it's because we have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
So, the great thing we always want to, but
Yeah.
For some of our smaller rides, it's not really needed.
yeah.
But
For your bigger rides like
for
this.
your bigger rides like this, this always requires a guest service ride.
And I guess at the end of the day, the maintenance takes everything off the tracks and puts them away. The
And then-
operators don't do that.
No, maintenance doesn't. We don't do that. We actually have to bring the ride down and maintenance comes when they do it.
Right.
And that takes a good 10, 15 minutes.
Just cycle through the rides.
So that's fun.
If you guys ever have to get evacuated, this would be the path you guys want.
I'm learning so much about if we have to be evacuated. I feel so much more safer.
Yeah. So how many of you guys who know Big Bad Wolf? This used to be the village. You can see we have a few old footers from Big Bad Wolf that we still do use. Some of them are being used, and most of them are just kind of sitting away, rotting away pretty much. And they come in and they sit and pretty much watch the cameras and keep an eye on you guys and stuff like that until something tragic happens.
But in the event.
That's why no team members were you see them come in. Alright, now to the launches.
This is some of the stuff that wouldn't expect. Absolutely. Disney wouldn't give tours for this.
Yeah, no.
Oh no. Electromagnetics. That's pretty much the bread and butter of the boat. So how these things work is that your train has a polarity and these have a polarity. And this is what creates that launch. So magnets attract to each other and that's pretty much what it's doing. It's just one giant magnet to launch you guys onto the next gravity-fed obstacle.
It's kind of like that magnet that we play with in Uncle
Yeah, exactly. Those are more mechanical things. These are run by power and stuff.
And is it 5 or 6 trains?
5 trains.
5, okay.
So, as you notice, only one train can be launched at a time because these guys give out so much power that once in use, they need to be charged. So when one train is being launched, the other one is charging. So that's why you only pretty much see one train being launched at a time. These guys will never be able to say hi to these guys. they'll say it hi to us, right? So they had just went in, that is off, it's charging now, and this one is just about to start up because another train is about to come in.
It's like the same way that a regular train goes.
Exactly.
It's so funny because we're not that far from that drop, and when you're on it, you feel like you're pretty high up. Yeah.
Do we ever run all those trains at the same time?
Yeah. It depends on capacity. As we explained that, decide that we need another train.
Going off right now.
Now, as you can see, there have been some incidents where the line was shut down and you're getting some people having to go pretty much all controllers.
That's why I said they can say they're all.
That used to be the Dragon car. It's not there anymore. It's now a Hollow Screen Maze, known as Bitten. I'm not too happy about it. I really don't like it.
So, welcome to Apollo's Chariot, built by Balaguer and Mablard in 1999. It is a hypercoaster, so it must have a 200-foot drop, chain lift, no inversions, as I've said earlier in the today. It has a combined droppage of 895 feet across 4,882 feet of track. There's 3 trains, same as, it's pretty much the same thing as Apollo's Chariot, sorry. Alpengeist, just, it's normal instead of being inverted. Sound good? Yep. So what do you guys want to ride?